All right, let's go ahead and use our development environment to create our first Java program. Before that, I figured we'd spend a bit of time with some hands-on activity to prepare for this. We're going to end up with a workflow that looks like a text editor, and then on the bottom here, a terminal that interacts with our program up top. Okay, let's go ahead and start this. First, I wanted to talk about an organized workflow. This is where we create folders and put files in the correct locations. In this class, it might be a good idea to have some sort of organization. Here in this diagram, this is visualizing the contents of a certain folder. You can imagine this as a folder that contains two outer folders. The one is called examples. This one has 3 files here. We'll talk about what these files are in just a bit. The hello.java, input.java. We also see another big folder here called projects. Inside of this folder, there are 3 nested folders, so folders within folders. And then inside of these subfolders are more files. Project 0 is a folder that contains 1 file. Project 1 is another one that contains another file. And then this is kind of looking ahead. The final project can contain multiple files. So we see multiple source files here. Okay, let's attempt to create the same diagram in our File Explorer. So if you're curious about what the File Explorer is, this is the application that you use to kind of click around and find things. On Windows, it's called File Explorer, and on Mac, it's called Finder. Okay, it would probably be a good idea to create a folder that contains all of your CS-12J stuff. You can kind of decide where to put this. I would probably put it I'd probably put it in the downloads. So I'm gonna go ahead and create a folder in my downloads folder here. I'll call it CS-12J. Once again, you can put this wherever you want. But I just put it in the downloads just because I got quick access right here. Okay, I just created a brand new folder here called CS-12J. And real quick, it looks like there are some leftover executables from the previous video. We don't need these anymore. These exe files, let me zoom in a bit. We don't need these 2 files anymore. These were installer executables from the previous video. Their purpose was to install the VS Code, text editor, and then the JDK. So we already have those installed. We don't need these installers anymore. So I'm gonna go ahead and delete these. Okay, so yeah, once again, go ahead and create this folder. You can right click and then create a new folder over here. I just created right here. So I'm gonna go ahead and double click into this and try to represent this tree over here. There is a examples folder here, so we should probably create that. Let me go ahead and do that. So create this and then create something called examples. The reason why we might want this folder is because during the class lectures, there's going to be a lot of coding demonstrations. And it would be a good idea to put these demos in this folder. Okay, there's also another big folder here called projects. This is where the majority of your homework will live. So I'm going to go ahead and create this, call it projects. There it is. Now we got 2 folders. I'm gonna go into the projects folder actually and just kind of set up some more folders for folks. So let me double click into projects, and you see how this tree has 3 inner folders. So there's the project 0. I'm gonna put an _0 here because it's gonna make commands a little easier later. So if you're gonna put a space in there, I would probably recommend not using a space because directory navigation will get a little weird with the terminal. Okay, so let me go ahead and create more project 1 and then project final. Okay, I'm just helping folks get set up with a organized workflow. This way you don't have like files everywhere. Okay, there we go. So we just finished creating 2 big folders, examples and projects. And then inside of the examples, there's nothing yet. We'll fill it in later. Let me back out. Inside of the projects folder, there are 3 other folders, which we'll fill in later. Okay, let me back out a bit. Cool, so there's our CS-12J folder. Okay, I wanted to practice a bit of terminal commands, in particular some directory navigation. This is going to be useful for folks who are using the command line for navigating through your computer system. So I'm gonna load up this PowerShell. In Windows, the terminal is called PowerShell. On Mac, you can just type in terminal. So you can just search for terminal and it's the same thing. Okay, so yeah, go ahead and load up your terminal. Let's go ahead and practice some things here. So here I loaded it up. You see this prompt over here before this arrow. This prompt represents our current working directory, which means the folder that our terminal is working in right now. If you wanted to kind of visualize what's going on, you can type in pwd. This stands for print working directory, and then enter. A print working directory will give us the path. It just outputs where the terminal is located. Okay. You might not know what this is. If you're curious what this is, you can go to your File Explorer and you see how it says C drive. A C drive represents our storage device. So mine is right here, C drive. So C drive. And then there's another folder called users. You could go into users over here. So click, and then here's my username. So let me click into here. Okay, there we go. So our terminal is working in this directory over here. Okay, and you can type in ls, by the way. In the terminal, you can type in ls. This stands for list, which will display all of the elements in this directory. Okay, so I just did an ls over here. Let me do it again actually, because my zooming, I gotta zoom out a bit. We see a list of contents here. This is what we're looking at in the File Explorer. Same thing. We got the desktop folder right over here. We got the documents folder over here, and then downloads here. So yeah, hopefully people are kind of seeing what's going on. This is where the terminal is working in. So sometimes it's necessary to navigate around because you want to access certain files in your computer. That's where the cd commands come into play. So you see these last 3 commands here. The cd stands for change directory. It allows you to navigate around. For example, if we wanted to navigate into our downloads folder from the terminal, you could type in cd space downloads. You have to type in this argument, which represents where you're going. So I type in cd downloads, enter. See how the prompt changed here? Our prompt shows that we are now in a different directory. And yeah, you can verify with pwd. You can type in pwd if you want, but it says right here. So I'm not gonna type in pwd to show it. Okay, you could type in ls actually. Ls stands for list. And yeah, so let me type this in. Cool, so I typed in list, ls, and we see there are two folders here. This represents the downloads folder. So I'm in the downloads folder, and there are two folders here. People cool with this so far? Okay, cool. This is gonna look different on Mac, by the way, but as long as you see your contents here, it's pretty much the same. Okay, one more. Let's go ahead and change directory into the CS-12J one. So I'm gonna cd into it, cd-12J, CS-12J, enter, and that's the equivalent of clicking into the folder. So let me type ls here. So ls, and yeah, there's ls. It shows us two folders here. Just sanity checking. Okay, cool. So yeah, we just covered some small navigation things. This is going to be useful for later. Later on, we're going to have to navigate around and find certain things. Okay, here's a couple more commands. Sometimes you need to go backwards, and cd space dot dot would make it go backwards. So cd space dot dot. This is the equivalent of pressing the back button here. So if I press the back button, it'll lead me back here. So it's the same thing. So I press cd space dot dot, enter, and then let me ls just to verify. So ls, and yeah, there's backups here, and then CS-12J. This is where I'll be doing most of my work. Okay, so yeah, by now we should have a few folders, so things will be more organized in the future. Let's go ahead and talk about the pipeline of development, and then we're gonna finally write our first program. Okay, I'll be repeating this again in the future. Okay, what's a program though? So we have a source code. This is a text file that we're going to create in just a bit. The source code, you can think of it as high-level code. High level means it's far away from the machine. It's like human readable. Human readable code is high level. But when we compile it, it will convert it into a different format that hardware can read. So let's go ahead and actually apply this. Let me see. The typical pipeline of the development, we will typically write a file that contains code, and then very important, save it, and then finally run it. So let's go ahead and apply this. The text editor that I recommended was VS Code. So let me load it up. Here's my VS Code. Okay, cool. Let me restart this actually. Close this. I'm gonna restart this. Okay, so when you load up VS Code, there's gonna be a explorer here on this top left. This file explorer will navigate VS Code to certain directories. So I'm gonna go ahead and click open folder, and then I'm gonna navigate to the folders that we just created. Mine is in the downloads folder. So I'm gonna click in downloads and then CS-12J, and I'll just press select folder. So enter here, and here we go. VS Code is now in the CS-12J directory, and we see these two other folders, which we just created earlier. Okay, let me just quit these right here real quick. Quit. Okay. Cool. So yeah, first step is using the text editor. Let's go ahead and write a Java program. Okay, this is going to be an example, so I'll store it in this examples directory. So go ahead and click examples, and then there's a button here that says new file. So let me press this new file. And I'm going to name it hello.java with a capital H and then the .java. The capital H doesn't matter too much, but in Java standard, people typically capitalize these file names. This .java is important though. You do need this file extension. Okay, so there we go. Enter, and boom, there we go. Oh, let me. Do you want to install the extension pack? We don't really need this, but you can install it if you want. I'm sure this has some features, but I don't really need these. Okay, so there is a file here called hello.java, and if you're curious, you can go ahead and load it up on your file explorer just so people know what we're doing. Let me load up my file explorer. Quit this. So if you're curious what happened, we just created a file. It's over here in the examples folder. You see over here, this is the file that we just created, and it's in this directory. All right, let's go ahead and write some code. I'll explain this code in lecture. The goal of this is just to make sure your development pipeline is working as intended. There's this program called Hello World. Hello World is kind of an analogy that verifies that your software is all working. So Hello World is a program where it'll display literally the text Hello World. The program, once again, I will explain this in lecture, but go ahead and type this over here. So let me zoom in a bit so people can read this. Okay, void main, and then 2 parentheses here, open and close, and then they curly braces. So I'm going to open a curly brace, and then there's a VS Code typed in the closing brace for me. I'm going to go ahead and press enter in between, so we have something here. So if you're curious what this is called it's called like a method. In other languages, it's called function. This is like the entry point of the program. The program first starts off in the main, and then everything between the curly braces are statements that will run. I'm gonna put one statement here with indent. Oh yeah, let me indent this. So indent, I use 4 spaces. You could use tab. The statement I'm gonna type is IO, so capital IO. This stands for input output. Dot print line, so print ln, and then finally some what's it called, parentheses, and then a semicolon, and then in between the semicolon I'm going to type in some text here between some double quotes. I'm going to type in hello world. Once again, I'll explain this syntax in lecture a little more. So yeah, just go ahead and type this in, and here's our hello world program. So make sure you save it, by the way. If you see this circle, you see this white circle on top, this represents unsaved changes. So make sure you save it. I'm going to press Control S, boom, and it saved it. Yeah, you could also click here and then save somewhere. It's like save right here. Yeah, same thing. Okay, so we wrote our source code. Now we can translate it to machine code. This is high level code. This is meant for humans to read. But now we need to translate it to machine code so our computer can run it. So let's go ahead and load up our terminal. There's a couple ways you can do this. VS Code has a terminal. You can put it here, and then terminal, and new terminal. Okay. Here's the part where we're going to apply some of the directory navigation things. On the bottom here, this terminal is showing us that we're in the CS-12J folder. We're actually not in the right folder yet. If we wanted to interact with this hello.java, we'd have to, well, the easiest way is to just cd into it. So I'm going to go cd, which stands for change directory, and then type in examples. That this is going to navigate us into here. And you'll see why we do this in just a bit. So let me cd into here. And then you see how our prompt changed? The prompt shows we're inside of examples now. This means that we're in the correct location to interact with this program. Okay, so we wrote the program. Your location depends on where you saved it. Now we just need to compile and run. With Java, you can do this in one command. Java space hello.java. Okay, let me go ahead and press enter. And there we go. It did two things. One is it compiled it, and then next is it ran it. We'll split those steps up later in the semester. But yeah, it's pretty much doing two things at once: compile and run. Okay, so yeah, there we go. We wrote our first program. If you see this hello world in your terminal, this means your software stack is working as intended. Perfect. So yeah, that's pretty much the development pipeline of Java. If you wanted to make some edits, you can. Just make sure you save it again and rerun it. For example, if I wanted to add in another line of text, I'm going to do another statement, io.println, and then I'm going to type in like, how are you? It doesn't matter. So I'm just going to type in hello, how are you? And then once again, there are unsaved changes. So got to save it again. Otherwise, the terminal wouldn't show the changes. So let me save, Control S, boom. Okay. And then let me go ahead and rerun the program. So Java hello.java, and then enter. There we go. We see the new output from this updated program. Perfect. Okay, let's talk about why we have to do certain things. I'm gonna go ahead and quit all of this so people can maybe exercise how to do this. So imagine that you wanted to reboot your computer and restart, or maybe you just wanted to quit and start over again. So I just quit all my programs. Let's say you wanted to resume. Just go ahead and load up Visual Studio Code again. And it looks like VS Code remembered the folder I want it to be in. Perfect. So I'm in CS-12J folder. Let me load up this hello.java. Okay, there it is. So I loaded up the hello.java. This is the source code. And let's say we were to rerun this. So let's rerun the program. Okay, you see here in the terminal, if I were just to compile and run it, so java hello.java, this is going to give me a error. It's saying error, could not find hello.java. So yeah, our terminal is giving us an error. We didn't get this earlier. The reason we didn't get this earlier is because we changed our terminal to the right directory. So yeah, we need to navigate, because that's where this is located. So let me go ahead and cd into the examples, and then enter. Okay, and then now we're in the right directory, so we should no longer get this error. Let me verify. So java hello.java, and then enter. There it is. Okay. Hopefully people see the typical pipeline of development. It's write Java program, and then save it, and then test it. That's pretty much it. All right. Once again, I will be explaining this in class. The whole goal of this video was just to make sure that your tools are working. Okay, so let's summarize what we did so far. we finished setting up our development environment, and we finally did some hands-on activities and practiced how to organize files and navigating things. And then finally we did a very short program. Okay, so that's about it for today. I mean not today. That's it for this small video. Okay, thank you all, and have a good day or night.